Rasmus Højengård, and I'm Director of Creative Development.
My name is Cevat Yerli, and I'm CEO and founder of Crytek.
So a lot of stuff has happened since Crysis 2. Years have passed, about 20 years, and Cell has risen to massive amounts of power. Partly the reason they have all this power is the research that they're doing on the Ceph, which also is ultimately, the reason for the whole nanosuit, the Ceph, is the reason for the whole nanosuit. And the problem is that they believe that they are completely in control of what they're doing, but obviously, even though it seemed like a victory against the Ceph in Crysis 2, maybe the victory is not so much a victory really, other than actually the Ceph just kind of waiting to, play their cards again properly, right? So Prophet is aware of that as essentially the only guy, because he had this vision of a very dire future. And it's difficult for him, so he's hunting this source of his vision, and it's difficult for him to really get allies on that one, so he's taking matters completely into his own hands. The whole culmination of what the story about Prophet is and what is with him killing himself, not killing himself, coming back and all that, is being really well rounded up in Crysis 3, and that's definitely something that, just following the, when there's trailers coming out, following the comments that they get and all that, that's definitely something people are very curious about. So, and kind of begging, like, how is this ever going to make sense? But it will make sense, and so we're really looking forward to players experiencing that.
We also designed Crysis 3 in a way that there's some aspects that are reminiscent to the Crysis 1 and Crysis 2 users, but at the same time it's entry friendly. So you can come in and have not played Crysis 1, not play Crysis 2, and actually really enjoy Crysis 3. To be really honest, we actually did a conscious choice to make the game less guided and more sandbox driven, which means the game at times will get as difficult as you kind of created for you. So if you wake up a lot of AI and get seen, and you try to run away from multiple AIs, it's going to be damn hard. If you play more tactical and smarter, if you outsmart the AI, you can take them down one by one. So you really have to think in this game. And we did improve that again in Crysis 3. In Crysis 2 we actually were much more kind of a reactive shooter, so AI started shooting at you first. And in Crysis 3 you are initiating the combat effectively. And Crysis 1 was like that too, and people like Crysis 1 above Crysis 2. And we said we need to be a proactive shooter. The player has to say, I'm fighting now, and then the game system evolves around that. Many shooters players are trained in their muscle memory, or memory muscles, so to say, by shooter games that are like that. Like they are like, okay, I just have to go forward, shoot these guys, move on next stage, shoot the guys, move on, etc. And Crysis 1 wasn't like that, but Crysis 2 was a bit more like this: go forward, shoot, and it wasn't quite linear, but it was much more linear perceived, because of the tone and the pacing of the game than it was. And I think with Crysis 3, it is requiring you to think and stop and breathe and play slower than any other shooter right now. Crysis 3 will be out in the UK on the 22nd of February.